your computer. When you visit a particular website, what happens is you get a copy of the HTML page or whatever it has been developed in onto in your computer. So whatever you can see, the language that you can see is your client-sided, which includes HTML, which includes CSS, which includes JavaScripting as well. On the other hand, you have other languages which are basically server-side scripting. Now, server-side scripting means those languages such as your PHP, active server pages, these are basically your server-sided. They remain within the server. A client does not get a copy of that. They are just there to process the information, get it from the user and throw it into the database. Okay, we are not getting discussing that in detail, although I will someday discuss a bit of PHP with you. Okay, because you can get a small question of PHP as well, so don't be surprised. So you have a question over here which is related to JavaScript. Okay, which is quite you get like 2 marks, 4 marks, and then you have anyway around it's like it's a 10-mark question that you have JavaScripting. But obviously you have to get acquainted with all this code, only then you will be able to answer these questions. In the same manner, there's another paper over here which is October number 19. Okay, over here again you have a question which is related to, there was a question in this paper as well, hold on. So you Gates. Ah, yes, you have. Willow is creating a website. One of the page includes the following JavaScript code and HTML tags. Here you go. Okay, they've declared some variables and they've made function. And here you go. There's a question of this as well. Again, it's of 10 to 12 marks. So in P1, obviously 10 to 12 marks obviously is a lot. This includes the entire JavaScript. So I'll try to cover up as much as I can. So first of all, I just wanted to let you know that the importance of learning JavaScripting in P1 is important. It does come in P1s, right? So again, I'm asking you, all of you, you have an idea of basically of HTML and basic JavaScript or not at all? Do I start from the scratch? Just let me know. Can you hear me, all of you, right? You can hear me. Noor Beta, can you hear me? You just joined right now.
Yes, sir.
Yes, right. So Noor Beta, I think so you just joined right now. I shared in the group the FTP address. Okay. While you go there, I just told everyone how to download VB from there. You need to come in. You will come into, so once you come here, you land over here. One more step back. Damn it! I just went all the way back. You will come into LGS. You will come into Software Bank. If you don't get it, please ask me, but you have to install it today. You come into LabSoft. You over here, you have Visual Studio 2013. You download this. You need to have is WinRAR. It's a compression software. It's a zip software. If you don't have it, you can download WinRAR from Google, extract it, and then install it. Once you've installed it, do let me know. Good. Okay, at least you will be ready to start VB. We will do VB aside and the rest of chapters aside. So let's start with HTML and JavaScript, please, all of you. And if you have any questions, please pause me, because I will try my level best to finish all this today. If not, we will try to finish it next class, but we have to do this. Now, JavaScript is just like your Visual Basic is a full object-oriented programming language. You should know is that JavaScript is a client-based language, object-oriented programming language. When we use the word object-oriented programming language, we refer to languages in which you can create your own functions. Now, what do I mean by that? If you talk about HTML, HTML basically is your one of the language that in which you have is preset tags. You have all the preset tags that you will be using to construct anything you want to. The main layout of the page is developed within the content layer, which basically is your HTML, which is hypertext markup language. It's the most easiest and the simplest language that has ever been developed, because you have just pre-developed tags that you have to use. You have a table tag, open the tag, close the tab, add trtd, your table will be made. Okay, you can add the paragraph tag to add the paragraph, h1 for the heading, h6 for the smallest heading, h1 for the largest heading, so on and so. Okay, you have or have not studied HTML before. Obviously, छोटा सा question आता है HTML का separately आता है, but you just can't leave two marks and say okay कुछ नहीं होता. Okay, you can't ignore things. And the best policy will be just be honest and do let Sir Simon know what you know and what you don't know. If you, because obviously I have not taught you in A1, मुझे idea नहीं है where you stand. जब तक आप लोग मुझे नहीं बताओगे कि हम आपको क्या आता है क्या नहीं आता, how will I know? मैं तो बस continuously पढ़ाई जाऊंगा. इसके बाद I will do chapter 19, 20 and I'll keep on going on. मगर back पे आपने क्या नहीं किया मुझे इसका idea नहीं. वो तो discussion हुई थी and I knew कि JavaScripting आपने नहीं किया. I thought let me do that first and then we'll come into VB. So the content layer consists of this. Then you have is presentation. Presentation basically means that you will add a style to the web page. You don't have CSS in your syllabus, but obviously they can ask you questions regarding this. So you should have an idea. Cascading style sheet is another language that you use to add styling to the web page, which means you want to add different styles to the headings, to the table, to the background, whatever you may want to. Then you have is your presentation. Is the behavior. The behavior layer basically means that you will be using over here is JavaScript. Now, why is that so important? With the help of JavaScript, you are basically adding a life to a page. You will be doing various things over here, from validating a form, from making different chat rooms and blogs. So wherever your web page starts talking, interacting with the user, all these online quizzes that you make, they're all made in JavaScripting. All these interactive online applications, web-based applications, phone applications are basically developed in JavaScripting. So this is basically an intro of why do we need to study JavaScripting, because these two layers are obviously for adding the content to a page, to make the style of a page, and then to add a life to a page or make the user interact with the web page. Your Dreamweaver is one of the best software in which we work with JavaScript. It's not necessary that you use this software. I'm just teaching you for learning. Okay, you can even use Notepad, but it's one of the best software to work with. It has HTML, it has CSS, it has JavaScripting. So I'll directly work with JavaScripting today. Now, I'm sorry. What I'll do is I will work HTML and JavaScripting together, not separately, because you should know both of them. Well, till now, any question before I continue? Anyone?
No, sir.
Okay, right. So basically, you should know is that whenever you have to type a script of JavaScripting, you will have is a script tag and you will close with a script tag. Okay, right? And then within this script tag, okay, you don't know HTML. Do all of you know HTML? Do you know the basics of HTML?
सर आप फिर से करवा दें.
मैं करा देता हूँ क्योंकि देखो आपके P1 में you have HTML, so you do get questions regarding that as well. So मैं आपको बता देता हूँ आपको. जी बेटा.
सर हमें इस तरह के क्वेश्चंस प्रैक्टिस के लिए करवाए हुए हैं, लेकिन हमें एक्चुअली याद नहीं है, तो आप फिर से करा दें प्लीज.
आपने प्रैक्टिस किया हुआ ऐसे क्वेश्चंस?
सर इस तरह का एक क्वेश्चन किया हुआ है, रिमेंबर दैट.
ओके, अच्छा बाकी नहीं किया, ठीक है. मैं भी आपको क्वेश्चन में आई एम नॉट सॉल्विंग दिस क्वेश्चन टुडे बिकॉज unless and until you don't know all the basics of this, I will not be able to explain this. So I'll try to cover up as much as possible. Maybe in the next class we'll be able to finish it. So maximum 2 classes I want to finish this. I'm not spending a lot of time क्योंकि हमने आगे भी करना है. मगर yes, so basically बेटा ऐसा है कि मैं चलो let me delete this because if you want me to explain, I'll explain. When you insert anything, let's say if I insert a table, which is a part of my content layer, I add as a table, fine, I can arrange it. I can obviously center it. You're not supposed to know all this, frankly speaking, okay? I mean, how the procedure of this, ज़रूरत नहीं है आपको coding की ज़रूरत है. I can type anything over here I want to. For example, this is some random text, and not text, and I can assign this as h1, or I can assign this as h6, whatever I may want to. मैंने इसको assign कर दिया. Then I can insert an image and I can do that, or whatever I want to do. Okay, in fact, I'll show you that as well. I'll go to images. And one thing very important is that whenever you work on a website or any software, everything should be in a folder. Your images, everything should be in one particular folder. If they're not, it will basically not work. So I've not put in a folder yet, so it's perfectly fine. Now let's have a look. What's happening in the coding? Well, as far as HTML is concerned, I'll just get rid of these unnecessary codes that are not important for you to learn, that are just randomly being generated. The meta tags, not important for you. Yeah, this is important. It starts with HTML and it closes with HTML, which means we need to tell the browser, if I preview this in the browser, I'll just save it anywhere. I can hit F12 to view the browser within Dreamweaver. So it opens up in the web browser. It's untitled2.html, so it's converted into an HTML file. I can view it in any web browser that I may want to. So basically, I was saying that the reason why we have HTML is that we are trying to tell the browser that we are using a language known as hypertext markup language. And this is how we open a tag, and this is how we close a tag. The / is the way we close a tag. When we open a tag, we should be closing a tab. This is the way HTML tags work. This is the way your object, whether it's text, whether image, it will know that I'm within this tag. If you want to insert an image, like the way I did over here, I have the image tag, I have provided the source, okay? But remember one thing, it's not always important to even close tags, okay? We don't have time to discuss all that, but it's not always important. Even if you close the image tag, it's fine. If you don't, it's fine. But it's important for you that if you want to insert a table, you start with table tag and you close the table tag. It's important for you that you open an HTML tag, you close the HTML tag. You start with the head, you have to close the head. Now, what's the head? I'll tell you what's the head. If you see over here, the top where you have the URL, where you have the title, we call this part the head, the header of the browser. We call this part the body of the browser or the web page. So inside the head, you have the title. You can see inside my head, I have the title. What is the title? The title of the web page. So if you look over here, I have my head tag, and inside my head tag, I have is the title. And you can change the title to anything you want to, Cucamongophobia, whatever you may want to type. You can write that down and you refresh it, you will get that over here. So you have the head in and you close the head. Inside the head, you have is the title. You open the title and you close the title. Right. So once you're done with the head, then the body starts. This is the definition of the body we have defined from here till here. So my body, basically body of my web page, starts from here and it's ending over here, right? So that's how I end my body. Now what's happening inside the body? Let's talk about that. Inside my body, as you can see, is what I've done is I've inserted a table, I've inserted some text, and I've inserted a picture. So I wanted to discuss all these three. Well, how do you insert basically a table? Well, remember one thing, table is basically made, how do you make cells? You make TR and TD. TR is for table row, TD is for table column. So you will keep on inserting TR, TD, TD. TD stands for table column. So one row, two columns, then another TR, TD, TD, then another TR, TD, TD, TR, then TD, TD. So this keeps on going on, okay? So eventually, once you have multiple rows and multiple columns, multiple rows and multiple columns, you close the table tag, and that's how it's made. What we're doing, trying to do is that we're just trying to have a knowledge, a working knowledge of HTML. I'm not asking you to learn this in depth, but yes, you should have a working knowledge of this. It's important, because if you don't know the working knowledge of HTML, you'll not be able to integrate JavaScripting within it. ठीक है? अच्छा, ये तो हो गया HTML. So that's HTML. Why do we use HTML? I told you. When you view web page, you see the text, you see the pictures, you can see the movie, you can see the sound coming in. All this is done with the help of your content layer using HTML. So contents are added through HTML. JavaScript, where do we program JavaScript? Well, there are two ways. One is that you can have your coding of JavaScripting inside the head tag, which means in between the closing and opening of the head tag. The second option is that you can have it in the body tag. The most common is to have it over here in the body tag, and this is what we will be doing. So now I will start with my simple HTML, JavaScripting. So here we go. I will start with my very first coding of JavaScripting. So within my HTML, I'm repeating again, I'm going to have is a script. This script is now JavaScripting. Okay, so obviously when I type script, my browser knows that I'm talking about JavaScripting. It knows that, so you don't have to define. Okay, you may define over here is type is equal JavaScript, but now it's not important. Used to be there in the previous versions. Now it's not important. Well, let's start talking about the first thing. There are different commands within JavaScripting that obviously you should be acquainted with. There are ways that you can display message. There are displays you can take the input from the user. You take this input from the user, you can store them in different variables. You can store them in the different arrays. Okay, and then we will talk about functions. We'll talk about methods. Okay, so this is all related, but I'll start with the very first lecture, which is how to use the alert command. Well, why do we have the alert? It's very simple. I can simply have very simple alert command that says this. So I don't always have to press F12. I can simply come into live, okay, and click on live. It says hi there. Okay, so what's happening is when I preview this, it's giving me an alert and telling and just displaying me a message with the alert command hi there. So that's how basically you work with alerts. You can use the forward slash to ignore something. If I add the forward slash, now if I click on live, you will not see any output. Why? These are basically known as comments. That's how we add comments to our programming languages. Why do we add comments? Maybe you want to ignore something. I want to ignore it, but I don't want to delete it, because if I keep on deleting it, we'll forget what we just learned. Okay. There are different ways that, okay, let's start with string manipulation, because this is the thing that comes in. You know what's a string? What's a string? Noor beta? How would you define a string? Are you guys there, madam? I was talking to myself. Is everyone there?
Yes,
Yeah.
sir.
Yeah. What's a string?
So it's a data type.
It's a data type. Very good. And what type of data type is a string?
Text.
Very good. A string is not only a text, it's basically even alphanumeric. Do you know that you can type 256 characters from your keyboard, starting from numbers, uppercase, alphabets, lowercase alphabets, lots of different symbols. All together, they are 256. Okay. If you start from 0, they are 255 technically, but we're not talking about that right now. So technically, in double quotes, if you write any of the 256 characters, it's considered as a string. Okay. You know what a Boolean is? What's a Boolean data type? I want anyone to answer. I'm not asking any specific. I want anyone to answer. Okay. Honesty is the best policy. कोई फर्क नहीं पड़ता आपको नहीं आता मगर I should know. Okay. Boolean is yes, no, true, false. Okay. Right. You know what the float data type is? Integer, double, single. Okay, I think so. I'll discuss this some other time. Okay, we will keep it a separate day where I can discuss the data types and revise them again. Anyway, so um, we will start with string manipulation. That's why I wanted to ask you what strings are. I can declare a variable a, and I could simply say over here is equals to, and I could write over here is this is a string. And there are different ways that we can work with this. I could use is document dot write, and I could use over here is a. Now these are my methods. Methods are built-in, you can call them functions within JavaScript. They're built-in functions. So the most popular that the CI people can ask you are the following that we should know. I will not discuss all of them. I'm obviously CI is going to ask you all of them. Well, obviously, if I use bold, which will basically mean that now if I display the output of this, I will get it in bold. Okay, it's a built-in method that we have. Okay, one of the very basic method. Okay, so you have other methods as well. You have, for example, character at. So if I use character at, and let's say if I use over here is character at, let's say 1, and let me put another bracket to close this. So it says B. I'm sorry, it says H. You know why it's giving me H? Because you're indexing, your counting of index starts from 0. T is 0, 1, 2. So it doesn't start from 1, it always starts from 0. You know that. So if T is in the place of 0, the index number of H basically is 1. So if I use character at 1, what is that? That tells me that it's H. You know what's a camel case? What's a camel case? Camel case is when you type your function with the first character as small and the preceding preceding words capital, character at. So after character at, if I type position, P will be capital. This is known as camel case. There is something known as sentence case. Sentence case is when the first word is basically capital and the rest of them are not. You should know all these terminologies. I'm telling you, they come directly or indirectly in your papers. So this is all integrated and connected to each other. I'm telling you, you should know all this. You can get a question explaining what a sentence case and a camel case is with an example. Write a code explaining how would you write it in camel case. So you should know it. Okay, right. So if I obviously write over here is let's say 3, what do you think so will appear? Anyone?
S.
Very good, excellent. We'll get S, right? So that's how basically this works. Let me just go to the next one because you got this. किसी को नहीं समझ आएगी, so you can even watch the video, you can even ask me right now, but please don't sit like that. Correct red kar liya, we don't have to do that. Concatenate, well, let me discuss concatenate with you in Java. How does that work? Well, it's a very basic concept. I can declare a variable B that says let's learn JavaScript today, right? And I can do is I can just add a space in the beginning. The interesting thing is that if I use A plus B, it's a very interesting thing. Why am I saying interesting? That if I preview this, why am I not getting anything? Because I did not close this. If I preview this now, we will join again beta, okay? So what's happening? Both of them have joined together, okay? This is a string, let's learn JavaScript today. So this means that plus over here is acting as, if it sees that if it's a number, it will add it. If it sees that it's a string, it will join it. Very simple. But on the other hand, somehow if the examiner talks about concatenate, well, it's very simple that you can use concat to concat this with B, and the output obviously will be the same. There's no such difference. It's the same thing. Now, the only thing is concat is a built-in function, which means concatenate. It's a shorter form for concatenate. मतलब इसका ये है कि दोनों को join कर दो. But like I told you, plus will treat strings as concatenate. It's an obvious thing. And if they are numbers, they will be treated as numeric and they will be added up. ठीक हो गया, right? Then we have is, I'm just trying to do it a bit fast. I hope आप लोगों को सब समझ आ रही है. मैं थोड़ा तेज जा रहा हूँ, but I have to because I can't spend like 3-4 lectures on this. No way. मेरी कोशिश तो ये थी मैं एक lecture में खत्म कर दूँ सारा कुछ. Then we have is font color. Obviously, you can define this in hexadecimal or you can define this as yellow. आपको ये पता होना चाहिए. Okay. So if I obviously preview this, I get this is yellow. If you can see, it is in yellow, right? So you can directly write the colors as it is. And then we have is index of. Well, I need to discuss this. I can't ignore it. Index of का मतलब ये है कि if I write over here index of in double quotes, if I write s, let's see what the outcome is. So it gives me 3. Why is it giving me 3? Because I'm saying from the string a dot tell me the index of a. So index of a, this index of, sorry, s, 0, 1, 2, 3. S is appearing in the third location. So the index of a is 3. Any problem, anyone? Yes or no?
No, sir.
What is the case of this? What is the case of this? In what case have I written this? Camel case?
To know the position of...
No, this is in camel case. I said, in which case have I written this? It's in camel case. Okay. So always remember these things. Okay. Yeah, I is small and the preceding word, only the first letter of the word is small. The next letter of the word are capital, all of them. That's camel case. I don't know why did the programmers came up with this. Maybe because the camel has a small head and big body, probably because of that they thought of it. Okay, anyway, we're not getting to that. They will not ask you that. So next what we have is, here we go, index of, last index of. That's very interesting. You might have thought of it that if we are able to find the position of s, what if I have multiple s appearing? Let's try this. If I type over here s again, what will be the case? It says me 10 because now it's telling me 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. It gives me the position of this s. Well, this s is what? This s is from the right hand side and index of was from the left hand side. Now, someone might be thinking right now, sir, what about if we had another s, which is this s? How do we get this one then? Well, I will be able to answer this question more properly in Visual Basic, where we can study loops. I will do loops with you over here as well, but I'll demonstrate this more better in Visual Basic. You have to use a loop, you can use a for loop, and wherever you find that preceding word, we can display it. But built-in function, you don't have a built-in to display the middle letter. That's not possible over here. Why do we use index of less than index of? That's basically to validate email addresses. इंशाल्लाह मैं ऐसा करूंगा कि मैं once we are done with VB entirely, okay, like उसके बाद मैं दोबारा आके मैं आपको एडवांस जावास्क्रिप्ट दोबारा एक दफा करा दूंगा. Okay, क्योंकि 10 marks, 12 marks is a lot of marks, so we can't ignore it. मगर अभी मेरा फोकस है कि हम P3 and P4 खत्म कर लें. I don't want to stick to P1 and P2 because P1 and P2 comparatively are very very easy as compared to P3 and P4. I'm telling you, P1 and P2 में कुछ टफ चीज नहीं है. Okay, ये मैं आपको बता देता हूँ. Okay, then what we have is what I've discussed. Index of, last one discussed. The length, very interesting. Length is frankly the most important. Now, length is not a method, it's a property. I don't have to put these two brackets, okay? I don't have to. By the way, do you know the idea where to use the parentheses, the square parentheses and the brackets? You know the rules about it? Do you know the rule of the programming, that where do we use what? For example, we always use the square parentheses whenever we refer to database, okay, such as arrays even, okay, databases. We always refer to database fields, okay. These could be databases or database fields. We always use these for any sort of scripting language. They are used in scripting languages. We always use these whenever we work with functions. It's not only for Java, it's all for all the languages. The rule is universal. So you should know where to use which one. It's not that you can do your own mercy. No, that's not the way. So if I'm not using these brackets in front of the length, this means it's not a function. It's simply property. What do you mean property? It will just tell me that the total number of characters that I have over here, including the space. If space is a character, remember that. Space is a character. So it will include the space as well. Okay, a dot length. Don't forget that. Then we have is string manipulation, important thing. Then we have is, what did I do? No, we don't have discuss, replace, match, link. Some other time. I don't have the time. I would like to discuss the link. Discussion lambi ho jayegi. Subscript, superscript, substring. Yeah, I can't ignore this abhi क्योंकि इसके question आते हैं. Let's talk about substring. Well, substring क्या है कि for example I want to do is I want to write over here is 1,3. Why am I discussing this? Let's have a look at the output. आपको समझ आ जाएगी. I get hi. Why do I get hi? Because it's saying that you have to split the string. You have to split my variable a, where I've defined the string, that you start from the first location and go till the third location, but do not include the third one. Let's see what I'm talking about. So hi kyun aa raha hai? Because this is 0, this is 1, and this is 2, and s is 3. But like I said right now, मैंने भी define किया आपको कि जो 3 होता है, it's not inclusive. It starts from first and goes 1, 2, 3. But that's the way it works. So 3 is not inclusive. So if I want to start from 1 and I want to go till the 6th, obviously that is what the output will be, which means it is going till s, but s is not inclusive. So like the way we concatenated, we joined a string, there are ways we can split a string, and splitting strings are very important. You follow me? Why do you think so? Why do you think so? Give me a good practical example of splitting strings. Why do we need to split strings? You have your name, you have your forename, you have your date of birth, and someone says that you have to generate an email address for all the employees. Don't you think so? I will define in variable a, I'll define the name. In variable b, I'll define the surname. In variable c, I will define is the date of birth, and I could display using substring. Okay, the first 2 characters of the forename, the last 3 characters of the surname, and the year of the date of birth, and I will join them, and I will generate an email address. There will be very less probability that I will have people who have the same name and a date of birth. Okay, this will be very, and if this does happen, I can manually change their email address. This is actually a practical example how email addresses are generated for this as well. So I was talking about substring. Okay, so that's the practical example. Zamna, right. So this is what we have. Do you have an idea about Zanab? Where is Zanab these days? Anyone friends with Zanab? Zanab Abid I'm talking about. Any one of you friends with Zanab?
I don't think so, sir.
No, you're not friend. No one is friend. Okay, she's a very quiet girl. I don't know. Okay, she's not even coming in the IT classes. I don't know. I hope she's not left the school out of depression. I don't know. Okay, anyway. So what we have over here is we discussed substring and okay. Then we have is what I should discuss with you is subscript and superscript. How would I explain this? I would explain this in this way. For example, what I could do is, I'll just give you a small example. I have H2O with a, I don't know, it's a valency of 2 or whatever it is. So I would write over here is A dot substring. If I want to get H, what do I type if I want to get H? Come on, please help me out. If I want to display only H, what do I do?
0.
Yes. 0 dot
1.
Substring. Does it include the one we type? Is it inclusive? Is 1 inclusive? Remember?
Yes.
No. We type 2. Remember, I said that 2 is not inclusive. I'm sorry, you are right, 1. I'm sorry. Because we get 0, 1. You are right. We get 0, 1. And now what do I do? I'll type concatenate, join this with A dot come on, it should have appeared. And I would again use is substring. You know why it didn't work? Because I didn't did substring, I did substr, and I didn't explain you as substr. So I'm sorry, I'll take my word back. I'm not sorry, I was right, because what my statement was correct. I'll explain that afterwards. I mistakenly selected a substr. Substr is different, but I'm not discussing it right now because if I discuss it, I don't want any confusion. Let's stick to substring, not substr. So what I was saying was right. 0.2, because if I use 0.2, it will no, it should not anyway. Now I will use is it should not anyway plus a dot substring, and then we'll use is we need is just 2. How do we get 2 now? I only want 2.
Um, 1.
1,2.
Yeah, correct. Did I close the bracket? No. Perfectly fine. Okay. You are absolutely right, because if we type 0, 1, which means it will include 0, which is H. 1 is not inclusive, so obviously 1 does not come. And you were again right when you said 1, 2, because it goes to 1, displays 1, but it does not include 2. Bilkul theek hai. But further, if I type over here is dot, and if I type, it should appear over here again. Why is it not? Dot. So dot sub basically means I'm adding a further um, method to it. It's a further method. So by adding dot 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 in one method, I can add multiple methods by adding dot. I could even write is dot font color, dot font size, and so on and so. So by adding dot sub, it means it has converted into subscript. And if I write over here dot sup, obviously it will be converted into a superscript. Okay, that's the way sub and sub and sup basically work. So we have discussed couple of string manipulation over here, right? Let me just discuss with you okay. Yeah, I have to. Well, you do know that if I add over here, if I say variable a is equals to 2, and if I say variable b is equals to 3, and if I write over here is, and if I write over here a plus b, obviously you know that the output will be what? The output will be an addition. You know that. And if we put this in double quotes, we convert 3 into a string, and basically what happens is it displays 23, because it seems like it's adding. It's not adding, it's just joining 2 and 3 together. So you should be aware of the fact that when you use in double quotes any numbers, they will be converted into a string as well. So always remember that. Okay. So when I said that a string, when I defined a string, and I said that when any of the 256 characters are used or are joined together, it's known as a string. String is just not for the text. You can convert any character into a string, but you need to put it in double quotes. That's the way basically it happens to work. Now, let's talk about arrays. We will come to variable discussion later on. By the way, arrays. What are arrays? Well, I can define over here an array of different countries. Okay, I can write over here is and just one more. And then I can define another array. I will name it as, and this array, you might be thinking, why have I defined arrays in the square parentheses? Would someone like to answer me that? Why have I added arrays as the rule I defined, not I defined, as the rule has been defined in computing, that you use square parentheses for databases? Then why is it, why am I defining it over here? What else can I have is whatever, I don't know, like whatever. So I have defined two different arrays. Now let's talk about this, that what are variables and what are arrays? Well, when we define a variable is a very small container. When I say variable a is equals to Lahore, okay, I'm just saying that variable a is equal to Lahore. A is equal to Lahore. I'm assigning is. A single equal to, whenever we use, remember that it's used as an assignment operator. We always assign things with a single equal to. Okay, so variables are just like small containers. They can just contain one single value. Then that single value could be when any of the data type, whether it's a float, it's a date, it's a number, it's a string, whatever it is. Okay, it's whatever it is. As far as arrays are concerned, arrays are containers. You can have multiple variables in one array. Arrays are very useful. You can define the weeks in a day in an array. You can do anything. You can make a program where someone says, please enter your hobbies over here one by one. So you'll keep on entering your hobbies, pressing enter. What you're doing is you will be saving all those entries within an array. So when you want to store multiple variables in a much bigger container, we call them arrays. That's the concept of arrays in programming languages. Okay, this is why our arrays, you can see they are separated through commas, and they are comma separated values. Okay, that's the way it works over here. Okay, the definition and explanation of arrays will bit differ when we do Visual Basic next week, inshallah. Uska thoda concept different hoga, but basic concept wahi rehta hai. It's the same thing. Okay, how do we manipulate arrays in over here? Obviously we will be using is document dot write, same way वही चीजें होंगी. I will not need a lot of time to discuss all that. I'll just, the spelling has to be the same. Mistakenly, if I type wrong spelling, it is not going to work. Country dot way. I'm not discussing all of them. Concatenate, if I use concatenate, obviously kya hoga, I can join variable a with, I can join both strings, both arrays together. I can use concatenate. या मैं भी कर सकता हूँ. I can write is country plus cities. So पहले मैं आपको ये करके दिखा दूँ. Concatenate this with. So what obviously is going to happen is it's going to join both of these together. Okay. So the cities and the countries have been joined together. एक और बात जो मैं डिस्कस करना चाहिए था. If I type over here is 1, this means it is going to define me the first element. Now, what do I mean? जब इसके अंदर if I type 0, it gives me the position of the first element. We call these the elements. They are the elements of my array. That's my first element, my second, third, fourth elements. So if I type 0, it gives me the position of my first element within my array, the position of my second element in my array, and so on and so. That's how it works. So that's how we do. Okay, is this clear? Are you with me, all of you? Are you listening, right?
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
Very good. Okay, so this is how we do country, and we have to define the square parenthesis. Why the square parenthesis? Because हमने rule सीखा है कि square parenthesis जब भी हम use करेंगे इसका मतलब arrays होगा, और जब मैंने कहा था कि इसका मतलब is always databases, I was right. Array are databases. They can hold a lot of information. So programming languages may, if you want to temporarily store something in a larger container, you use arrays for that, and that's a database. So with the rule, with the definition, it's right. Here we go. Next we have is if I use country dot no, let me see जो important. We index of वाला फिर दोबारा आ गया. If I type index of for example over here is it will obviously give me 1 because 0 1. So this is important. If I want to find the numeric position of my element in an array, I can do this. Okay, I can obviously do this. I will be sending a list of all this क्योंकि मुझे पता है यूं आप किस तरह याद रखोगे. You need to have it in front of you so that you can just revise things. So I'll send you a PDF file जिसमें whatever we have discussed and whatever can come, you can revise it through there. Okay, you don't have Dreamweaver, you will not be doing. मैं तो आपको demonstrate करके दिखा रहा हूँ just to explain you. पता और आपको क्या होना चाहिए, join का पता होना चाहिए. Join is used at times if you want to just add a character in between them. Well, forget about the application. I'll give you example some other time कि क्यों इसका use कहाँ आता है. So if you want your arrays to be joined, to be separated, I would use the word separated by a special character, you can use join for that. Okay, the PDF file that I'll send you will explain each and every method, where it is being used and why is it being used. Last index of वही बात होगी कि अगर हमारी array के अंदर Belgium is appearing, let's say after 15, so it will tell me the numeric position of that Belgium which is appearing from the right hand side, just like we did in strings. Length, again, very important in arrays. We need to find out how many elements do I have in my array. This is important. If I want to find the total number of elements in my array, we use dot length, just like the way we use length in variables, where I wanted to find the number of characters defined in my string. String के अंदर हम characters find करते हैं, array के अंदर we find the number of elements. ये अपने बात याद रखनी है. So we are where? Reduce, reverse, yeah, one should know. Whatever I've written, they will be displayed in the reverse order. So if you want to reverse the order, you can do that. You can even do it, you can use even dot sort here. Oops, not in capital. it should work. It should sort it out. So it's in the descending order now. It has, so reverse करके मैं इसको sort भी कर सकता हूँ. So we can use sort over here. Sort is a method जो उसको sort कर देता है. Right? So these were the basic, not many, मगर array के यही थे. यही आपके थे सब कुछ. Okay? Till now, any question, beta? Any one of you? अभी तक कोई problem, कोई issue? Yes, beta? Anyone has a question?
No, sir.
Right. Shall we stop or should I discuss the next part, functions, today, or should I leave it in next class? What do you say? अभी तक आपको समझ आ गई है? If you want, I can discuss even the functions today and we can finish that up as well. It's totally up to you. क्योंकि I have to ask you कि आपको जितना मैंने पढ़ाया वो समझ आ गई है? Yes, all of you?
Sir, functions भी कर लेते हैं.
Very good, very good. Functions basically होते क्या हैं? मुझे सिर्फ just give me, don't worry, if someone is tired, I'll not take much time. Functions are built in. Methods are built in. Functions we will be creating ourselves. In any programming language, we can create our own function that will do a particular job. मैं आपको छोटा सा function create करके दिखाया था, and you will just get an idea मैं क्या कह रहा हूँ. Well, I'll tell you what. How do we create a function? You will see over here is that I just need to type over his function, and I will name it as, let's say, call me. And my function needs to have its own code block. Every programming language will have its own code block. A code block starts with this script, okay? Scripting. So that's my beginning, that's my ending. इसके अंदर मैं क्या काम करता हूँ? कि I will simply use as an alert, and oops, I just typed something wrong. And I'll type over here is hello. Right. Now, obviously what happens is कि मैं इसको display कराऊंगा तो कुछ नहीं आएगा. भाई, obviously कुछ नहीं आना चाहिए. क्योंकि there is one very important thing about functions, that functions have to be triggered. They have to be triggered when you click on a button. They can be triggered when a particular time is met. कि for example आपने कंप्यूटर ऑन किया हुआ है कि exactly जब 4 o'clock होंगे तो एक function trigger हो जाए. So we can attach it with time. We can attach it with the user's interaction. When you click over an image, when you click over a text, जो भी आप करोगे, when you move the mouse, ये सारा कुछ हो सकता है. Well, मैं इतना डिटेल वाला काम नहीं करूंगा. मैं आपको एक सिंपल सी इसका एग्जांपल दे दूंगा कि over here we can actually make is a button. Input. I'll use as a button. Right. I will write value is submit. And I would say is on click, go and trigger the call me function. ठीक हो गया, and I can basically close it. तो मैं live पे तो click नहीं करता, पहले मैं view करता हूँ. I have the submit button. So what happens is when I click on this, this comes. So basically, even if I preview this, okay, I can even export this as an application as well. So जब भी आप click करोगे इसके ऊपर, you get this. Why is this happening? How is it working? मैंने user interaction बनाया है. इसमें क्या हो रहा है कि obviously out of the script tag, I had to add is a button because button comes in the part of the content layer. HTML के अंदर आता है. ठीक है. Again, working knowledge आपको आनी चाहिए. Don't get scared कि हम सारा याद कैसे करेंगे. No, working knowledge पे ध्यान दो. So input type is a button, value is submit, on click. When I click on this, what happens is call me ke aage bracket. I have done it because it's a function. So on click, go to call me. It comes over here. It says, do I have any function by the name of call me? It finds it over here. Ah, yes, I have something function by the name of call me. फिर वो call me को call करता है. And it says, what is inside call me? Alert. So when I click on this, it tries to find call me and it shows me that. Okay, that's not the only way. I could even do more. I could do is कि मैं यूं नहीं करना चाहता, बल्कि let me delete this series, इसको तंग ना करे. मैं body होता है कि the body of the web page. I could say is on load of my page, please trigger it. So as soon as I click on this, it works. So this means if I preview this in the browser, it comes to be right away. खुद ही आ रहा है. क्यों आ रहा है? क्योंकि मैंने I've defined over here that when my page loads, on loading of the page, right away go and trigger the call me function. So call me is functions are obviously very important. They can have lots of things done inside functions. This is where object-oriented programming language begins. अभी तक object-oriented programming start नहीं हुई थी, अब start हुई है. क्योंकि हमने अपने मर्जी का एक function बनाया है. I can create any function that can do any job. Lots of things can be done. It's very interesting, frankly speaking. It's a never-ending story. Because every time you see a new app coming in, a new program coming in, everyone comes up with a new idea. वो idea has to be implemented. मगर वो implement किस तरह होगा? Only if you are using an object-oriented programming language and if you can actually practically implement your idea programmingly in a programming way, then this is what object-oriented is. You get the point? ये function होते हैं. This is just a very simple example of function, मगर obviously इसमें we will be discussing more and more functions. हम VB में भी discuss करेंगे, so आपको ज़्यादा clear वहाँ भी हो जाएगा. Okay, they're quite the same thing. You'll get them in the both way. Yes or no, beta, right? अभी discussion और रहती है. अभी तो we have to discuss is things like get element by ID. हमने discuss करना है. We need to discuss validation over here as well. जो कुछ syllabus में है, तो वो चीज़ हमें discuss करनी पड़ेंगी. Okay? अभी हम वहाँ तक नहीं पहुँचे हैं. I have to discuss some math के functions over here. Okay? Button देखा? Button use किया हुआ on click. हमने आज ही मैंने आपको करा दिया इतना. ठीक है? So you will get element by ID. I have to do it, but I can't do. लंबा time लग जाएगा. ठीक है? Get element by ID is very very important. और क्वेश्चन देख लेते हैं. उसमें क्या क्या आपको buttons are important. You have to know how to work with buttons. Alert मैंने करा दिया आपको. If then else. Oh yeah, I was supposed to do if then else. We are left with that as well. What are we left with? We need to discuss more. We have to discuss our loops. Okay. In loops, we will discuss is the for loop, the while loop, the do while loop. We need to discuss is the switch statement. Okay. And what else? And we need to discuss is the get element by ID, right? What else? Yeah. Basically, मैं आपसे फिलहाल ये discuss कर लूँगा. And then, like I said, after we have done at least 80 to 90% of Visual Basic, फिर I will switch over someday to the advanced JavaScript. फिर मैं आपको advanced topics, we will do that afterwards. ठीक है? क्योंकि अभी अगर मैं सारा start करने हो गया तो this will take a lot of time. I don't want to do that. इतना मैंने आपको करा दूंगा कि आपसे past chapters हो जाए आराम से in JavaScripting. Is it clear with all of you? Any question?
No, sir.
अच्छा, I would really appreciate कि आप लोग interact किया करो, बोला करो, कोई चीज समझना है बताया करो. Otherwise, obviously, अगर आपको if you're getting what I'm teaching, absolutely fine. But you later on the questions, please do. Let's interact. Let's ask more questions. Okay, an interactive class is obviously much better. ठीक है। मैं आपकी अटेंडेंस ले लूँ एक सेकेंड। ऑब्वियसली इट्स अ वेरी स्मॉल क्लास, ओके, but still I have to. Attendance is attendance. So here you go. Done with this. So आपका काम क्या है? You need to download Visual Basic, install it, and please let me know. Update me कि हो गया कि नहीं हो गया. Can you do that now? मतलब do it today, do it tomorrow. But before the next class, we need to have Visual Basic installed because we're starting with that. ठीक हो गया? हमारी अब एक क्लास में हम वीबी करेंगे, एक क्लास में चैप्टर करेंगे, एक में वीबी, एक में चैप्टर. दिस इज द सीक्वेंस इट विल गो, राइट? और इंशाल्लाह इस सीक्वेंस में वी विल बी एबल टू डू इट ऑन टाइम. यस और नो ऑल ऑफ यू? डन? राइट बेटा? राइट? ओके बेटा, अपडेट मी. ओके ओके बेटा, अल्लाह हाफिज.
अल्लाह हाफिज़ सर.
हाफिज.